Do you remember the story, of course, sadly, tragically in one case, two babies abandoned, both, as I said earlier, in Longueuil, and brings up the question is, what do we do? How can we prevent this going forward? Is there a better option for mothers or whoever leaves these children to actually make sure that these children, in one case here, one of the babies died, the other one is going to be okay? And it brought up something, and I'd sort of heard about this, but didn't really know much about it, something called the baby box. So we wanted to find out more. Jordan Guildford is founder of Calgary-based organization, the organization called Gems for Gems, working with baby boxes, which, as I'm finding out, and Jordan, thank you for being here, these are nothing new. This is just new to Quebec, if in fact we adopt this here. So can you give our listeners just an idea of what it is that the baby boxes are and where they're being used now?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. So it's actually baby boxes is the term in the United States, and they're an organization called Safe Haven Baby Boxes. In Canada, it's called Hope's Cradle. And Hope's Cradle is one of our Gems for Gems initiatives and the only organization that is growing these cradle options across Canada. And we would absolutely love to come into Quebec. Very simply put, our cradles are a safe and anonymous option instead of the unsafe options that are currently being chosen. And sadly, you've had two back-to-back. But it's not a complicated option. It is just, in our opinion, a resource that every community should have because clearly the need is there.
So explain what they are and how they're used and what this does with respect to, people, mothers who abandon children, babies.
Sure. So simply put, it is most of the ones that we have right now are in fire stations, but essentially there's a small door on the outside of a exterior wall. You open it up and there's a bassinet inside. It is alarmed. So within usually about a minute and a half, an alarm goes off that the mother can hear, and it's kind of her heads up that someone will be coming shortly. We do see taking consideration to keep the anonymity of the mother protected is very important because it's that anonymity piece that a lot of times people choose unsafe options for. So essentially, she opens the door, a silent alarm goes off right away, notifying the first responders. And this can be sent to 911. It can be sent to wherever the current cradle is. For instance, there's one of our cradles at a pregnancy care center, so it would go to their help desk first. And then the mother places her baby inside the cradle. She takes a birth mother package, which has postnatal support for her physical and mental health well-being. And she leaves. It also gives her an opportunity to send in a letter to her baby, to fill out medical forms and whatever she can possibly provide to be able to assist in the future path of that baby. But it's postage paid and pre-addressed. So she doesn't have to fill it out right away. She just takes that, closes the door locks. And like I said, within usually about 2 minutes, there's someone there to be able to collect the baby.
So where are these things typically left? I mean, you mentioned at a pregnancy center. I read fire stations as well.
Yes, so the model across the states is fire stations. For us, we can be a lot more flexible here. Our cradles are the same anywhere they go. So they are currently in 3 fire stations across Canada and also at a pregnancy care center. But we're open to shelters, like women's shelters. We're open to more pregnancy care centers, more hospitals, any place where it will be well supported. We're very happy to work with those people.
As I hear you describe this, and we should mention, I don't know if you said it, but these boxes, so people understand, they're fully temperature controlled too, right? So it doesn't matter. You can leave your child in there even in the winter.
Yes, and it's so important. So thank you for highlighting that. Yes, the temperature is controlled and monitored, and if it drops below at 19 degrees, there's an alarm that goes off, and it kicks in the heater again. It's also, there's a camera pointing specifically at the cradle, but not at the door. So immediately, the baby will have eyes on it, and any procedures that the first responders need to be prepared for, they can prepare in advance for.
My only question as I hear you describe this is it sounds like such I hate to use the word, like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't we have this? What sort of opposition do you run into or have you run into?
Well, so this used to be across Europe in particular, and the UN actually shut it down because their big reason for it was that they felt that it violated the child's rights to know their parents. And we don't pretend that a child doesn't have rights and shouldn't know that information. But we're more focused on the child's right to a heartbeat than any other secondary concern. So it is a no-brainer to us, and we do things like that birth mother package to be able to mitigate any other rights being violated. But our real focus is ensuring a safe option for these babies and for the mothers. As long as there's no harm done to the baby, the mother has done no crime legally because Hope's Cradle falls under a legal safe surrender option. So it gives her the opportunity to be able to have a new life as well as the baby. And I think something that's really important to remember is that it's very easy to villainize these women, but many of them are trafficked girls or women, and we have to understand that we have no idea what they're going through, and we just need to step up and do the right thing.
Do you have someone advocating for you, say, in Quebec, for example, where I mentioned the two stories, although I'm sure they're not unique to Quebec, of, babies being abandoned this way?
Yeah.
People hearing this, what do you do if you think this is a good idea and want to help?
So what we would love is to have people reach out to us. It's actually a pretty easy situation to be able to bring Hope's Cradle to your community. You have to get approval from your town council. But outside of that, you need a location, and then within 3 days we can have our cradles built, and you're off to the races.
All right, we will leave it at that. I wish you luck. Seems like a pretty, not only good idea, but as I said, a bit of a no-brainer when you consider we don't need to see these things keep happening over and over again. No one wants to see that. Jordan, I thank you so much.
Thank you.
Introducing Bryan Adams Radio on iHeartRadio. Hosted by Bryan Adams himself.
Join me for an insider look on a wild ride through 40 years of global rock and roll.
Bryan Adams Radio. Now available on the free iHeartRadio app. Or ask your smart speaker to play Bryan Adams Radio on iHeartRadio.
Who's ready to rock?
Everywhere I go, kids wanna rock.